Apple Incorporated's bank account is now $60 million lighter, although it could have been as much as $400 million lighter. The computer giant was ordered to pay bankrupt Chinese company Shenzhen ProView Technology the sum over ownership of the iPad name, as they ruled that the company still owned the name rights they purchased for $55,000 as they were never transferred. The settlement ends a threat to Apple's second largest market. You've played Monopoly, right? What happens when the banker and players have an advantage that clearly cannot be adjusted, like the influences and advances of everyday life? Well, psychologist Paul Pirth created a year-long experiment on the campus of Berkeley University to put this fantasy world to existence. Pirth slated two undergrads against one another in a game of Monopoly in which one of them had no chance of winning. One of the players, dubbed T-Shirt, had been made rich. He received $2,000 from the Monopoly Bank to begin the game and received $200 each time he passed go, and was also able to roll 2 dice at a time. The second player, called Glasses, is presented as the poor player. He received only $1,000 to begin the game and collected only $100 when he passed go, and he only got to roll 1 dice at a time. The point of my research is to shed light on some of the consequences of social class and how they can be dehumanized, he says. Would I be less excited if we found that higher status people were more generous, he asked? I'd probably be less excited, but that's not what we found. After the North Carolina Utilities Commission voted in favor of the merger last week, South Carolina's Public Service Commission approved the agreement Monday, and now the deal is done. Duke Energy Corporation and Progress Energy Incorporated have completed a merger valued at approximately $32 billion. The merger creates the nation's largest electric company. The new company will be able to borrow money more cheaply, use fewer coal-burning power plants in favor of ones that use natural gas, as well as keeping power prices stable. As profits are controlled by state regulators, approximately 85 to 90% of the combined company's revenues will now come from its regulated business, compared to about 75% for Duke Energy before the merger.
They ultimately told me
For the second straight year, Governor Beverly Perdue said Friday she has found the budget approved by state lawmakers to be unacceptable, and she vetoed it. The House and Senate last week passed a $20.2 billion spending plan for the 2012-2013 fiscal year, which would begin Monday. The plan, which includes only a 1.2% raise for teachers and state workers, would cap the state gas tax, aid and Medicaid funding, include funds to offset lost federal stimulus money for schools, but also would mean deeper spending cuts for schools and state agencies, no raises for workers, as well as falling short in money for job creation, hiring probation officers, and no compensation for victims of the state's forced sterilization program. For BNT Our News, I'm Zach Morgan. After being down 30-0 in the opening game, Serena Williams beat defending champion Petra Kvitova in straight sets 6-3, 7-5 to move on to the Wimbledon semifinals. The 4-time Wimbledon champ will play Victoria Azarenka to decide who plays in the final. Williams said after the match, "I had the time of my life. I had to step it up today because I was playing the defending champion. It was tough. Everyone thinks about lifting the trophy. It's something I've thought about, but my main goal is to keep progressing. If I want to win the title, I have to step it up. There are a lot of people vying for it." Williams won the match with her power as she garnered 13 aces with her fastest serve at a blazing 120 miles per hour. Tiger Woods is regaining the form that made him a household name. He showed off that form as he won the AT&T National at the Congressional Country Club on Saturday. Dressed in his signature final round red shirt, Woods outlasted Bo Van Pelt en route to taking home the victory. In his third win this season, Woods claimed his 74th win of his career, moving him into second place on the PGA Tour all-time list, 8 wins behind legend Sam Snead. The highlight of the day had to be a shot on the 12th hole when Woods had a shot from the fans gallery beside of a tree. Woods added, "I remember there was a time when people were saying I could never win again." Remembering those thoughts, Woods carried that motivation to the end hole as he added, "As long as I won, I'll be okay." Do you think that NASCAR needs some sprucing up? Speedway Motorsports Incorporated Chairman Bruce Smith thinks so. "Call it what you want, but you've got to have caution flags," Smith said. "That creates excitement. You can't just sit there with nothing happening. It ruins the event. It's damaging to our sport." With caution laps and flags at an all-time low this season, the Nationwide Series race at Kentucky makes the point for Smith. The race had a record 113 consecutive green flag laps, with driver Austin Dillon leading 192 of 200 laps, winning by almost 10 seconds. Someone once said, "We're in show business," said Smith. Well, if we're in show business, let's deliver that show. Other sports have mandatory timeouts and TV timeouts. All that stuff creates things in those sports. We need to be creative in this sport. NASCAR needs to create more double file restarts, maybe even a pseudo halftime at each race to cause an additional restart, as well as reducing speed of the races. Next stop for Smith and his ideals will be to President Mike Hilton to see if his entertainment package will be welcomed. Lastly, as the Olympic teams are taking shape, the diversity of those teams are beginning to take a front seat as well. Beginning with Leah Neal, a 17-year-old New York native, as she became the second African-American ever to make an Olympic swim team as she placed fourth in the 100-meter freestyle. She is now on her way to London for the 2012 Olympics. Anthony Irvin, who became the first African-American swimmer on the American squad in the 2000 Olympics, joins Neal and North Carolina State graduate Cullen Jones, who is the first African-American descent swimmer to win gold at the 2005 World University Games. They round out the list of 3 African-American members of the 2012 USA Swim Team. In an effort to spread the word and get more inner-city youths in the sport, team member Jones has been touring the country as the face of USA Swimming's Make a Splash program. I always hear so many stories from different people, even in my own family, where they've had such bad experiences about being in the water and swimming that I can really relate to. I completely get it, but there's never a reason that you can't learn how to swim, said Cullen. And in a side note, African-American gymnast Gabrielle Douglas beat reigning world champion Jordan Weiber in her quest for an Olympic spot, guaranteeing her a spot on the team and a seat on the plane to London. Best of luck to all the athletes as they represent the United States in London. For BNT Our News, I am Zach Morgan.